Damo and the R Network, we're partnering also to make sure that this information gets out. So can we give them a round of applause? Tux, thank you so much. Damo, thank you so much. I want to start with just a question. How many of you, by just a show of hands, have read the book, The Holly? All right. How many of you, by a show of hands, have seen the movie, The Holly? All right. What I'd like to do is kind of get your opinion for just a moment. Just quickly, what was the book or the movie, in your opinion? What was it about? What was it about? Just from the crowd. Triggers. Terrence.
What was it about? Let me put it this way, so when the movie starts off and you see the march, that's me. That's me from my church and my congregation marching when they burned down Tyson's. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, they started shooting and everything went on. So our march, so I asked Terrence to join me on that march. And so our march was about, let's pray together, let's come together, got to stop the shooting, stop the killing, stop the burning each other. So for me, I think maybe the message got twisted. But if you're looking at the movie or the documentary, the start of it was all about unity and bringing the community together. All about us working together.
Okay. All right. Anybody else? What was the movie or the book about?
I thought it was about Denver.
Denver. How so?
I just thought it was a Denver story. And so that's sort of what I thought it was about, like a slice of life of Denver.
Okay. Anybody else? Jamie.
It was all within the setting of the Holly Area Redevelopment Project. So that was what many of us were working on with Terrence in this community.
Well, before we even get started and get deep into it, I want to set the tone to where this is in the spirit of a conversation. Question, answer, dialogue, not trying to convince, prove, cajole, or whatever. And certainly we're not about to argue, and everybody who was nervous about coming to the Holly, folks was nervous about coming to the Holly for no reasons even before they knew anything about the Holly. And so there's stigma attached as well. But with that being said, that's the spirit. Welcome to the Hope Center. And how many of you have participate in like book clubs, book readings, and discussion groups? Can I see by a show of hands? So that's been a big deal. That's been a big deal. There are a lot of individuals who are also included in that story in the book and the movie that haven't said anything about it. They've been sitting on it. And in the spirit of everyone having an opportunity to tell their own story, I'm going to first ask the Rev, what was that book or that movie about, in the same way I asked the audience here. Rev, you were prominent in that book. What was it about? What was the book? What was the movie about?
You know, my thing first I give honor to God for allowing us this opportunity to be here yet again on a day that was not promised to near one of us. But because of his mercy and his grace, he allowed us this opportunity once again to come together. As being, a spiritual person, I have to lean on that, because if I deal with a lot of things from the natural point of it, I'll just gnash my teeth. I'll become angry. And I understand in the word that I read, it says I can be angry, but sin not. And this is going to my 41st year of doing this work, doing this ministry. And over these decades, I've seen a lot. I've been accused a lot. I've been in the focus of a lot of things a lot. So was it others who came before me, Moses, David, Isaac, all those others came before me. I don't regret doing what I've done for these length of years. And I think because of the efforts of all that was a part of Open Door, we've been able to see a difference, a change in this city. A lot of things have been done behind the scenes. Long before it was a Terrence Roberts, Julian, Rubenstein. It was Open Door. It was us. Many of those youngsters who I see today who are now in their 50s were part of Open Door. We weathered the storm. Those things that we've dealt with in the past, those accusations, those allegations, they've come and they've gone. And even on the wake of this, one of those things that makes this somewhat different, is the fact that when we talked about, the things that behind the scenes, let it die down. Don't pay any attention to it, it'll go away. Did it go away? Every time we turn around, it was something else. Now, when you even get to the point when I first read the book, and I wasn't even going to read the book, because my thing was to give acclimates to Terrence, acclimates to those who've changed their life around, who've come to realize that there's something better for them in their life to do, and they want to make a difference of building up something that they may have torn down, was to raise him up. That was my original purpose of supporting this effort. And as you noted within the book, and even within the documentary, it starts off about history. It starts off about a city. It starts off talking about those pioneers within our city, which is great. But then when it flipped around, and then start to demonize and address those of us who work behind the scenes to do a lot of things. And when I started reading the book the first time, and I wasn't going to even read the book, I wasn't going to even buy into it. But yet when so many people continue to ask me my opinions, my thought about what has been written, and I said, well, instead of hearing and going off of hearsay, I had to get the book myself and read it for myself for my personal feelings to be be confirmed as to what are these people saying, what is being said about me and POTS and Open Door. So I read it the first time, and the first time I read it, it was almost like I said, like something being written for a script for a movie. And then I said, if it was fiction, this is a good read. It has the good, it has the bad, it has the conspiracy, it has all of those things in it. But then when I realized it was not fiction, it was supposed to be based off of truth. Truth. And, when things were said in this book, and especially about me and others about pot, I said, wait a minute, we were there. They're talking about us. They're talking about the things that were supposed to have been going on behind the scenes, which was not the truth. So when it got to that point, I said, wait a minute, something's wrong with this picture. We all knew what happened behind the scenes. We knew the efforts, the works, the sacrifices that was done behind the scenes to make a difference in this hood. We knew. But I've said that when anytime anybody want to demonize a community and demonize people to lift themselves up, that becomes an issue. I have not yet been invited to any of these viewings, these showings, these, all the things that they're getting, these awards and acclimates and all of that. I have not received one invitation. Reading this book, it was one-sided. There was another side. And if you're going to talk about me, come to my face. Ask me what really happened. You're going to talk about any of my guys. Ask them what happened. That's the thing that got me upset. I said, and I will say it again, that I asked myself the question that is, Julian, why are you doing this? It seems to me that you are pimping out Park Hill and you're pimping out Terrence Roberts. Now, that's what it seems. Somebody's getting paid off of this. Somebody's making money off of this. And I know I ain't got a dime. None of my people ain't got a dime. But I know the work that was put in behind the scenes by POTS. And when you look at the history of POTS, Those of us that came together in the beginning because we wanted to make a difference. This is what we wanted to do. And this is what we did. So to read this book, to see the things that have been said and people have been accused of, I come to realize over the nature of time that if you are accused of something, you should be able to face your accusers. Come ask me if you got a question about me. Don't go around asking. And this guy, Julian, I remember when he first came, what his objective was to write a story about Terrence Robert, about this kid that changed around, did a lot of things, and which is great. I was all in for it. I spent hours giving interviews about the change in the life of Terrence Roberts in the beginning. This was about 2 years before all of this even happened. And then to take that and turn it around, to talk about us. And I think you could ask anybody about the creation of POTS, how we all started to talk about this in the beginning. A lot of sacrifices went forth. A lot of things were done that the general public maybe had no clue. They were able to just to see the aftermath of the fact that it was things that were diffused. And I still feel, and I will stand now, knowing of the things that have been done behind the scenes, the situation could have been much worse if there had not been the intervention of the vision of POTS. So I take it very personally when it's one thing that attacked me, but there's another thing to attack the vision, the efforts of what POTS has been all about. So when we start talking about the thing in the book, and this Julian, I gave him an invite to attend today. I put it out for Terrence to be here today, in which I know out of all the viewings, out of all the showings, and of all of that, I have not had one invitation to go and be a part, to be able to say my side or our side. So my purpose of today, if those who were part of POTS to be in a position, if they choose, if they feel that they want to speak on what they've done and what has happened and the truth, this is our time to say our side and leave it up. And again, even with that, if you're gonna blame something on me, bring your proof. Show me what you're talking about. Let me know, because I've got people that have been killed because somebody said, I see your name on paperwork. Where is the paperwork? Show me. Now this Julian, he says that he feels that his safety is in jeopardy because he had heard rumors that somebody gonna put hands on him. I know my people on this side, ain't none of us ever even thought about putting hands on this boy. Where did he get that from? It makes good news. It makes people want to read the book, see the movie. But so here we are today, to be able to say the truth. Because again, I take full accountability of Open Door, which POTS was up under the umbrella of Open Door. My guys and girls who were part of it, what we did right around the corner, our efforts had not been in vain. Because all my guys around here, they grew up in this neighborhood. Why didn't anybody take time to ask them their side of it? Instead of just hearing one source, and you writing a book and a movie and you getting dollars off of it? So I presented this and we talked about this, Brother Joe. You got a question about me, ask me. I don't have nothing to hide, nothing. Ask me. So again, with that being said, I'm giving the opportunity, for anybody that's been a part of Open Door, been part of POTS. Because even in there, when you say, and I say it again publicly, we all know about the trial of Terrence Robert and all that, and because one of the big things that people have asked me is, Rev, why did you even testify in behalf of this kid? Why did you do it? Because at first I wasn't going to do it. Because it had been noticed that if I hadn't did what I did, as we sit here today, most likely this kid would be doing years in prison. Years. But I felt at 3:03 in the morning when I woke up, and I told Stephanie and I told others, because they knew I wasn't going to do it. I told them at that point, I felt that it was the right thing to do for me. And I don't regret it. I don't regret getting on that stand and testifying in his behalf. Because as lawyers and other people would say, if that had not happened, he would be locked up for many, many years. It was the right thing for me to do.
Let me ask this, Reverend Kelly, and then I'll, if you've got questions as well, I would like for you all to have an opportunity to engage in this conversation. But I want to talk to you and perhaps Carl directly, because I know that Carl hasn't spoken. Many have not spoken. But what I'd like to first ask you, Rev, and then I want to piggyback this with you as well, Carl. Is a question around indictment of you two men specifically. I don't know directly as of Reverend Kelly, there was a scene in the movie that kind of said, I know I'm coming forward, but it was blocked out or something. So I don't know who was saying what in terms of that dynamic. But there was a part also in the movie that said, Carl McKay is an informant. Like, I'm saying this unemphatically, he's an informant. Like, what was this movie about, Carl? How does it land with you, and what would you like to share?
First of all, my name is Carl McKay. Like Rev was saying, I give honor to God for being here, being able to give my side of, or account of, what this is all about. To me, the movie I just felt like the movie was planned before. I mean, all of the shooting and all of the other madness happened, and upon watching the movie, because just like what Rev was saying, I mean, I wasn't really giving it a lot of energy. Like, this has been like 8 years in the making, for me, at least. I mean, I don't know, how Rev feels about it or how nobody else feels about it. But, I mean, ever since the shooting, it's just been ongoing, and I mean, I've never been an informant. I've never had to work for no law enforcement. That's just not my makeup. That's not who I am. So, I mean, for that, we can, go ahead and clear the air on that now. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's just not who I am. So, like I said, man, the movie to me was about self-gain. It was about poor me. And that's just kind of how I seen it. I mean, even now I look, during the campaign, I'm looking at the debates, and, for me, honestly, I feel sorry for Terrence, because he's still stuck in that day. I mean, since then, my life has been way different. I get up at 4:30 every morning. I go to work. This is just something that I try not to let hinder my life. And, with the things that have transpired over, the years, like I say, I've been dealing with this for 8 years with the book. First, the book. I get a million phone calls from people who care about me, saying, are you okay? What's going on? Why is this happening? Why is it, and I find myself having to field questions that I shouldn't even have to, because I'm actually not even knowledgeable about, where it all started. So it kind of, leaves me in a vulnerable position to ask to answer questions that I truly don't even know why I'm answering them, you know, and that's just kind of like where I'm at with it.
Thank you, and we're going to go down. Introduce yourselves, and then what was the book about? What was the movie about? What is this all about in your take? And then, Pernell, come down here with me on this end, if you would.
Trying to get in the cut.
I know. I hear you.
So my name is Zenobia Armstrong. I'm also in the book. I'm the young lady that had the restraining order against Terrence. When I got the restraining order, there was multiple reasons behind it. I was not working with the youth at the time. Now I am. However, I was pretty much womanized by Terrence. Terrence took me in when I first got the salon over here in the Holly. It was my very first business ever. I got the salon, and I was very excited to have my first business, being a young Black entrepreneur. And it just, after a while of me being there, it just kind of seemed like, oh, we can take advantage of her. She's young, she's Black. Let's start hanging out in front of her facility. Let's start doing these type of things, right? I did my all with being professional and talking to the individuals that were doing so. I then ran into Terrence, who was saying, hey, come be a part of this organization I have. You know, it's good that you have a business here. I'm proud of you. Let's do your grand opening together. So I threw a grand opening party, and Terrence came and we started to rock the camo, right? I was gonna paint the inside of my salon camouflage. And then all of a sudden, I had two barbers, both were Bloods. I am, a little bit of my history, I am an ex-Crip. When I say I work with the youth genuinely, I really do. I no longer gangbang at all, I am a queen. And so, I'm sorry, I'm getting a little upset, excuse me. Terrence, we started the camo thing, and I joined in with the camo thing, and then one of my barbers came to me and said, hey, Terrence told me to tell you he wants to fuck. And so I then told my barber, I said, you know what, that's not even a response I need to give to Terrence, but I'm gonna tell Terrence he couldn't fuck me with a 6-foot pole. On top of that, I'm a queen, so there's a way to come at a woman, right? After that, all hell broke loose. Terrence began to text me, you're the crabs, you shouldn't have a business here, your homies burnt down our neighborhood, I'm gonna make sure I get you out of here, I built this $1 billion organization, I built this park over here, I'm gonna make sure I get you out of here. I argued back and forth with Terrence for a while, and then eventually told Terrence, you know what, you can't take nothing God blessed me with. And so that went on and on and on. And a couple of weeks later, I can't remember his real name, but I'm not even gonna say any names. An individual came into the salon and said, Miss Lady, he was a Blood. He said, Miss Lady, there are a lot of Bloods mad at you right now. We previously made one of the other guys that was a Crip who was trying to get the building on the corner right before Carl McKay had it. 2 days of him being in there, they made him move out due to Terrence telling them that we're the crabs, we shouldn't be able to be there. They need to do something about it. And then, so this guy comes in there and he's like, I am a Blood. He goes, but I was born a man. He said, so what I'm gonna tell you is you need to go get a restraining order on Terrence Roberts because he took me under his wing and bonded me out of jail a couple weeks ago. He said, but in return, he's telling me that my pay to him is to come in here and shoot everything up in here, including your kids. I immediately went and got the restraining order. And for those of you who know about restraining orders or the courts at all. In order to get a restraining order, you have to have valuable information, valuable threats. Terrence had threatened me so much that I used those text messages, and that's how I received the restraining order. I want that to be clear, because it was said that I went and got a false restraining order. There's no way you can get a false restraining order, right? Terrence then the next day came over in front of the salon, and the guy who had previously told me to get the restraining order, he also told me that, you know what, I'm not going to deal with Terrence anymore because he's doing a lot. I thought that he was really going to take me under his wing and really support me with being able to, stop the violence, right? He said, so I'm not messing with him no more. And also he put out this fake documentary or whatever. And I don't know nothing about the documentary. I don't know nothing about what Terrence had going on. I know that I was a Black young woman entrepreneur and didn't have anything to do with anything that Terrence had going on. And so he did tell me, he said, I'm not dealing with Terrence no more. You don't have to worry about me going over there. And so then the next day, that same individual came over to my salon, and he was talking to my kids or whatever. He just kind of really got close to me. And for about a week straight, we hung out with him. And Terrence Roberts pulled up in front of the salon with the restraining order, and he's waving it out the window. This bitch is a snitch. She's a snitch. And there was a few bloods outside the salon in the front. And he's like, why are y'all over here dealing with her? She's a snitch. Look, she's put this restraining order out on me. She needs to get the hell up out the Holly. And so at that point, the individual who came and told me to get the restraining order said, Terrence, we're not dealing with you no more. You're lying in documentaries. You're telling people to do things that are not okay. He's like, I'm not dealing with you no more. So Terrence in return tells him, if I catch you across the street at this park, I'm gonna kill you. And so he goes, this is a city park. I can go over to that park when I want. That is, I